when you have a parent that is saved and then, or a believer, and then you have an unbeliever, that becomes very tricky. The Bible tells us, and even though it mentions to the women, I think it can go both ways, but it says that your companion is won by your conversation. And that word conversation is not just what you speak with your lips, but that word literally means lifestyle. And so I think that the believer can set a spiritual atmosphere in the home, male or female, that there may be some resistance, there may be some, things to maneuver around, but I think the children can find security in that without superseding the other parent or making the other parent feel like they're less than. So I would say kind of find your niche in that setting. And again, there's just no ABC. This is the formula. But I would say kind of find your niche in that and be very intentional about how you do things. And if you're a believer, in other words, if you're a believer, get your kid into everything the church is doing. Just everything the church is doing. Without condemning the unbeliever. Without beating up the unbeliever. Without saying, well, if you were doing this, yada, yada, yada. Just, hey, they're having this big deal at the church. I know Joe really wants to get in on that. And
just adding to what was so well spoken here regarding the complexity of the family and the dynamics of the family. It's changed so much, and that's indicated. But the question, the part that I'd like to address is, how are these values of the Christian believer, how do they take those and transpose them and get them involved in the family life when there's an unsaved individual in the home? And what I would say to the believer is define your scriptural value system. Because if you live on that operating system to be kind, to be gracious, manifesting the fruit of the Spirit, that unbeliever should not be turned off necessarily by your good conduct. But if we profess a Christianity that is vile, belittling, and indifferent, withholding due benevolence as it relates to romantic desires and spending time with meaningfulness, then of course your Christianity will be scorned as a destructive measure to the family. So what I would say to the unbeliever, husband or wife, live by the value systems of Scripture that is spoken of. Define your lifestyle, your Christ-like lifestyle. Be a husband that loves like Christ loves. Be a wife that manifests adoration to your husband with reverencing him so that he can see that really Christ came to make my marriage better, not to make me a miserable person. And so while it's not easy to do, but we have examples. Emulate models like Sarah, whose name was Sarai, who was a difficult woman to live with while she was Sarai, gave Abraham a real challenge. But when she had a serious encounter with God, that transformative work elevated her. Her name was changed to Sarah, and she became the New Testament example of what a beautiful wife can be. And so we have models. And so the simple deduction is this: find people who you aspire to be like and draw from them. So if your marriage is miserable, don't find a miserable person to tell you that's the way they are, you should walk. No. You find someone that's doing it right, may have been in your situation but mastered it, and draw from that person. And in that mentoring relationship, Mary Elizabeth relationship, you can become a woman of God that can win your spouse, or a man of God that can influence and win your wife and your children. So your value system must be defined, and you must be committed with a lot of prayer, a lot of intentionality, a lot of research, and connecting with people who can help you get there.